Hi, I'm Miss Huffman.
And I'm Miss B.
Welcome to
Two Teachers,
a place where we can read
and learn
together.
Like and subscribe.
Welcome back, friends. This week we have been learning about accidents. And if you remember, an accident is when something happens that you didn't mean for it to happen, or if you do something that you didn't mean to do. And you might be thinking an accident is a lot like a mistake. In both an accident and a mistake, something happens and you didn't mean for it to turn out that way. But in an accident, maybe you just weren't looking, or maybe you weren't thinking, and it just happened. Now, an accident is very different than something happening on purpose. Now, you might know that something that happens on purpose means that you did it and you meant to do it. You might feel bad about it afterwards, and you might feel sorry after you did it, but you still meant to do it in the first place. That's what we call on purpose. An accident, you never meant to do it. It just happened, right? So an accident, it's different than on purpose, and it's important that you know the difference. Today, we're going to be reading A Letter to Amy by Ezra Jack Keats, and we're going to see an accident in this story, something that happens that this main character didn't mean to happen. Let's read the story. A Letter to Amy by Ezra Jack Keats. Now, I noticed there's only one name on this book, and they're not photographs. So I know that this one person, Ezra Jack Keats, wrote the words, that's the author, but also the illustrator. They made these pictures too. Okay. A letter to Amy. I'm writing a letter to Amy. I'm inviting her to my party, Peter announced. Why don't you just ask her? You didn't write to anyone else, said his mother. Peter stared at the sheet of paper for a while and said, well, this way it's sort of special. He folded the letter quite a few times, put it in an envelope, and sealed it. Now I'll mail it, he said. What did you write? His mother asked. Will you please come to my birthday party? Peter. You should tell her when to come. So he wrote on the back of the envelope, it's this Saturday at 2. Now I'll mail it. Put on a stamp. He did, and started to leave. Wear your raincoat. It looks like rain. He put it on and said, it looks like rain. You better stay in, Willie, and ran out to mail his letter. Willie, do you know who he's talking to when he says, you better stay in, Willie? Oh yeah, there he is, the dog. Walking to the mailbox, Peter looked at the sky. Dark clouds raced across like wild horses. He glanced up at Amy's window. She wasn't there. Only Pepe, her parrot, sat peering down. Willie, didn't I tell you to stay home? Peter thought, what will the boys say when they see a girl at my party? Suddenly, there was a flash of lightning and a roar of thunder. A strong wind blew the letter out of his hands. You might be thinking, well, that's an accident. He didn't mean to let go of the letter. That's true, but that's not the big accident in the story yet. Peter chased the letter. He tried to stop it with his foot, but it blew away. Then it flew high into the air. And landed, skipping across a hopscotch game. The letter blew this way and that. Peter chased it this way and that. He couldn't catch it. Big drops of rain began to fall. Just then, someone turned the corner. It was Amy! She waved to him. The letter flew right toward her. She mustn't see it, or the surprise will be spoiled. They both ran for the letter. What do you predict is going to happen? What do you think? In his great hurry, Peter bumped right into Amy. He caught the letter before she could see it was for her. Oh no, look closely. Ooh, look at the expression on her face. You might know how she's feeling. That was the big accident in this story. Let's see what happens. Quickly, he stuffed the letter into the mailbox. He looked for Amy, but she had run off, crying. Oh no. Okay, let's turn back one page and really think about what happened. So the letter was flying through the air and both he and Amy were trying to catch it, right? So Amy, was she trying to take the letter from Peter? No, Amy was just trying to help, but what ended up happening? They ran into each other. Oh, and Peter ran into her so hard, what happened? He accidentally knocked her down. And then what did Peter do? He quickly stuffed the letter into the mailbox. Oh. And in that time, what did Amy do? She had run off crying. Okay, I want you to think about that moment. Think about it in your head. You can visualize it. You can see Peter and Amy both trying to get the letter, and then they bumped into each other. But Peter didn't stop. He continued to mail the letter. And I understand Peter didn't want Amy to see it. She didn't want her to know the surprise. But Amy doesn't know that. She didn't know it was an accident. She doesn't know why Peter didn't stop. Wow. I'm going to ask you in just a little bit, what would you do? What would you say in this situation if you were Peter? Now she'll never come to my party, thought Peter. He saw his reflection in the street. It looked all mixed up. When Peter got back to his house, his mother asked, "Did you mail the letter?" "Yes," he said sadly. Did you hear how he's feeling now? Sad, he said sadly. Saturday came at last. Everyone arrived but Amy. "Shall I bring the cake out now?" his mother asked Peter. "Let's wait a little," said Peter. "Now, bring it out now," chanted the boys. "All right," said Peter slowly. "Bring it out now." Well, you can tell how Peter is feeling too. At his own birthday party. And you know why he feels that way, don't you? Just then, the door opened. In walked Amy with her parrot. "A girl, ugh," said Eddie. No. Isn't it okay to have girls and boys at the same party? Of course, girls and boys can go to the same birthday party. "Happy birthday, Peter," said Amy. "Happy birthday, Peter," repeated the parrot. Peter's mother brought in the cake she had baked and lit the candles. Everyone sang. "Make a wish," cried Amy. "Wish for a truck full of ice cream," shouted Eddie. "A store full of candy and no stomach ache." But Peter made his own wish and blew out all the candles at once. The end. Wow. So did that story have a happy ending after all? Yeah, it sure did. But was there an accident in the story? Yeah, well, Peter accidentally let go of the letter, and then Peter accidentally bumped into Amy, and that's the big accident I want to talk about today. Thanks for listening to this story. Let's move on to the activity, and I want to know what you would say or what you would do if you were Peter and you bumped into Amy.